Hello, my name is Dr. Grace Lewis. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and I was hired through the Dairy Innovation Hub. I was one of the faculty members hired here. I want to tell you about a project that we have here in collaboration with UW-Madison on lactose-free ice cream. This project was funded by the Consortium for Extension and Research in Ag and Natural Resources, and I've had 4 undergraduate students working on this project. We look to make lactose-free ice cream. So what is lactose? Lactose is what we call a disaccharide. It's 2 sugars bound together, glucose and galactose. You might have heard of lactose intolerance, and that's when individuals can't properly break down lactose within their gastrointestinal tract. And that means that lactose makes its way the entire way to the large intestine, where it's fermented by a variety of gut microbiota to produce all sorts of uncomfortable gastrointestinal effects. So individuals who can properly digest lactose have an enzyme present within their gastrointestinal tract called lactase. Lactase will break apart that bond, break apart glucose and galactose, allowing it to be digested properly. So does that mean lactose intolerant individuals can't consume dairy products? Absolutely not. So there are some dairy products that are naturally low in lactose, things like aged cheeses, butter. But for other dairy products, you can actually add this enzyme during the manufacturing process. So you can add lactase, let's say an ice cream mix, allowing lactose to be broken down prior to consumption. So our research was looking at this enzyme lactase, looking at in ice cream, when we add it, what temperature do we have the ice cream mix incubating at to allow for the best breakdown of lactose? Also the mix properties or the mix composition. So do we have sugar? Do we have more fat? What do we alter in the mix to help make this process as optimized as possible? And students were working on this at the benchtop scale in part 1 of this experiment, where they actually made really small batches of ice cream mix and used a blood glucose meter, similar to what diabetics use, to monitor the breakdown of lactose into glucose and galactose. So they were able to monitor different parameters, the temperature of the mix, the composition of the mix, and seeing how that affects the breakdown of lactose. And then when they found what they wanted to move forward with, we actually last week traveled to UW-Madison to scale up our ideas. So we, in the Babcock dairy, made lactose-free ice cream, made the mix, added the enzyme, broke down the lactose, and then we froze it. We were able to travel back with 24 half gallons of ice cream that we're going to evaluate the properties of, the melting rate, the hardness, things like that. And then about 250 half gallons of ice cream are still at UW-Madison for our collaborators, Dr. Scott Rankin and Dr. Chuck Nicholson, to evaluate. So Dr. Nicholson is looking at the economics of this process. How do we make it as economically viable as possible? With so many individuals, roughly maybe 60 or above % of people within the world lactose intolerant, these products have grown in demand quite dramatically. So with that, how do we make this the most economically viable process? With that, thank you for listening.